Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a modern companion for intellectuals. Sorry about yesterday. Got really tired and my throat was hurting while reading, so we didn't get to finish. But today we will continue that, starting from chapter 35, moving forward to chapter 50. Chapter 35. God said to Jacob, "Get up, go to Bethel and settle there. Build an altar there to the God who appeared before you when you fled from your brother Esau." So Jacob said to his family, "Get all those who are with him. Get rid of the foreign gods that are among you. Purify yourselves and change your clothes. We must get up and go to Bethel. I will build an altar there to the God who answered me in my day of distress. He has been with me every second I have gone." Then they gave Jacob all their foreign gods and their earrings. And Jacob hid them under the oak near Shechem. When they set out, a terror from God came over the cities around them. They did not pursue Jacob's sons. So Jacob and all those who were with him came to Luz, that is Bethel, in the land of Canaan. Jacob built an altar there to the place and called it El Bethel, because it was there that God had revealed himself to him when he was fleeing from his brother. Deborah, the one who had nursed and raised Rebekah, died and was buried under the oak south of Bethel. So Jacob named it Alian Bakuth. God appeared to Jacob again after he returned from Padan Aram, and he blessed him. God said to him, "Your name is Jacob. You will no longer be named Jacob, but your name will be Israel." So he named him Israel. God also said to him, "I am the God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation, indeed an assembly of nations, will come from you, and kings will descend from you. I will give to you the land that I gave Abraham and Isaac. I will give you the land to your future descendants." Then God withdrew from him at the place where he had spoken to him. Jacob set up a marker at the place where he had spoken to him, a stone marker. He poured a drink offering onto it and poured oil on it. Jacob named the place where God had spoken with him Bethel. Set out from Bethel, and when they were still a distance from Ephrath, Rachel began to give birth, and her labor was difficult. During a difficult labor, the midwife said to her, "Do not be afraid, for you have another son." With her last breath, for she was dying, she named him Ben-Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried in the way of Ephrath, that is, Bethlehem. Jacob set up a marker on her grave, and the marker is at Rachel's grave still today. Israel set out again and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder. While Israel was living in that region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine, Bilhah, and Israel heard it. Jacob had 12 sons. Leah's sons were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, Simon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. Rachel's sons were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Rachel's slave Bilhah were Dan and Naphtali. The sons of Leah's slave Zilpah were Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Padan Aram. Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre in Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac stayed. Isaac lived 180 years. He took his last breath and died, and was gathered to his people, old and full of days. His sons Esau and Jacob buried him. These are the family records of Esau, that is Edom. Esau took his wives from the Canaanite women, Adah, daughter of daughter of Elon the Hethite, Oholibamah, daughter of Anah and granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Basemath, daughter of Ishmael and sister of Nebaioth. Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau. Basemath bore Reuel. Oholibah bore Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. These were Esau's sons, who were born to him in the land of Canaan. Esau took his wives, sons, and daughters, and all the people of the household, as well as his herds, all of his livestock, and all the property he had acquired in Canaan, and he went to a land away from his brother Jacob. For their possessions were too many for them to live together, and because of their herds, the land where they stayed could not support them. So Esau, that is, Edom, lived in the mountains of Seir. These are the family records of Esau. father of the Edomites in the mountain of Seir. The names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, son of wife of Adah, and Reuel, son of Esau's wife Basemath. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Timnah, a concubine of Esau's sons Eliphaz, bore Amalek to Eliphaz. These are the sons of Esau's wife Adah. These are Reuel's sons: Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These are the sons of Esau's wife Basemath. For they are the sons of Esau's wife Oholbama, daughter of Anah and granddaughter of Zeboim. She bore Jeush, Jalam, and Korah to Edom. These are the chiefs among Esau's sons, the sons of Eliphaz, Esau firstborn: Chief Teman, Chief Omar, Chief Zepho, Chief Kenaz, Chief Korah, Chief Gatam, and Chief Almec. These are the chiefs descended from Eliphaz, the land of Edom. These are the sons of Adah. These are the sons of Reuel: Esau's son Chief Nahath, Chief Zerah, Chief Shammah, Chief Mizah. And these are the chiefs descended from Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Esau's wife Basemath. These are the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah: Chief Jeush, Chief Jalam, Chief Korah. And these chiefs descended from Esau's wife Oholibamah, daughter of Anah. These are the sons of Esau, that is Edom. These are their chiefs. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, the inhabitants of the land: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Itzar, and Dishan. And these are the chiefs among the Horites and the sons of Seir, in the land of Edom. The sons of Lotan were Hori and Heman. Timnah was Lotan's sister, and these are Shobal's sons: Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. These are Zebulon's sons: Ayah and Anah. And this was the Anah who found the hot springs in the wilderness where he was pasturing the donkeys of his father Zibeon. These are the children of Anah: Dishon and Oholbama, daughter of Anah. These are Dishon's sons: Hamdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Cheran. These are Ezer's sons: Bilhan, Zavan, Akan. These are Dishon's sons: Uz and Aran. These are the chiefs among the Horites: Chief Lotan, Chief Shobal, Chief Zibeon, Chief Anah, Chief Dishon, Chief Ezer, and Chief Dishon. These are the chiefs among the Horites, clan by clan, in the land of Seir. These are the kings who reigned over the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites. Bela, son of Beor, reigned in Edom. The name of his city was Dinhalbah. When Bela died, Joab, son of Zerah from Bozran, reigned in his place. When Jobab died, Husham, from the land of the Temanites, reigned in his place. When Husham died, Hadad, son of Bedad, reigned in his place. He defeated Midian in the field of Moab. The name of his city was Arvith. When Hadad died, Samlah from Masrekah reigned in the place, while Samlah died. Shaul from Rehoboth at the Euphrates River reigned in his place. When Shaul died, Baal-Hanan, son of Achbor, reigned in his place. When Baal-Hanan, son of Achbor, died, Hadar reigned in his place. His city was Pal, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, daughter of Matred, daughter of Mehzab. These are the names of Esau's chiefs according to their families, and their localities by their names: Chief Timnah, Chief Alva, Chief Jereth, Chief Oholibamah, Chief Elah, Chief Pinot, Chief Kenaz, Chief Teman, Chief Mibzar, Chief Magdiel, and Chief Iram. These are Edom's chiefs according to their settlements in the land they possessed. Esau was father of the Edomites. Chapter 37. Jacob lived in the land where his father had stayed in the land of Canaan. These are the family records of Jacob. At 17 years of age, Joseph tended the sheep with his brother. The young man was working the sons of Bilhah and Zilpah, his father's wives, where he brought a bad report about them to his father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than his other sons, because Joseph was a son born to him in his old age. He made a long-sleeved robe for him. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all of his brothers, they hated him and could not bring themselves to speak peacefully to him. Then Joseph had a dream. Where he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. There we were, binding sheaves of grain in the field. Suddenly my sheaf stood up, and your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to my sheaf." "Are you really going to reign over us?" his brothers asked him. "Are you really going to rule us?" So they hated him even more because of his dream and what he had said. He had another dream and told it to his brothers. "Look," he said, "I had another dream, and this time the sun, moon, and the 11 stars were bowing down to me." He told his father and brothers, and his father rebuked him. "What kind of dream is that you have had?" he said. "Am I and your mother and brothers really going to come and bow down to the ground before you?" His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. His brothers had gone to the pasture of their father's flocks of Shechem. Israel said to Joseph, "Your brothers, you know, are pasturizing the flocks of Shechem. Get ready, I am sending you to them." "I'm ready," Joseph replied. And Israel said to them, "Go and see how your brothers and the flocks are doing, and bring back word to me." So he sent him from the Hebron valley and went to Shechem. A man found him there wandering the field and asked him, "What are you looking for?" "I'm looking for my brothers," Joseph said. "Can you tell me where they're pasturing their flocks?" "They have moved on from here," the man said. "I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph set out after his brothers and found them at Dothan. They saw him in the distance, and before he had reached them, they plotted to kill him. They said to one another, "Oh, look, here comes the dream expert. So now, come on, let's kill him and throw him into one of the pits. We can say a vicious animal ate him. We'll see what becomes of his dreams." When Reuben heard this, he tried to save him from them. He said, "Let's not take his life." Reuben also said to them, "Don't shed blood. Throw him into the pit in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him. Intend to rescue him from them and return them to his father." When Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped off Joseph's robe, a long-sleeved robe that he had on, and they took him and threw him into the pit. The pit was empty, without water. They sat down to eat a meal, and when they looked up, there was a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. The camels were carrying aromatic gum, balsam, and resin going down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, "What do we gain if we kill our brother and cover his blood? Come on, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay a hand on him, for he is our brother, our own flesh." And his brothers agreed. When Midianite traders passed by, his brothers pulled Joseph out of the pit and sold him for 20 pieces of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took Joseph to Egypt. When Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not there, he tore his clothes. He went back to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone. What am I going to do?" So I took Joseph's robe, slaughtered a male goat, and dipped the robe in its blood. I sent the long-sleeved robe to their father and said, "We found this. Examine it. Is it your son's robe or not?" His father recognized it. "It is my son's robe," he said. "A vicious animal has devoured him." Joseph had been torn to pieces. And Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth around his waist, and mourned his son for many days. All his sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "No," he said, "I will go down to Sheol to my son mourning." And his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, in an office of the Pharaoh, and the captain of the guards. Chapter 38. At the time, Judah left his brothers and settled near the Adonite named Hira. There Judah saw the brother of a Canaanite named Shua. He took her as a wife and slept with her. She conceived and gave birth to a son, and he named him She conceived again, gave birth to a son, and she named him Onan. She gave birth to another son and named him Shelah. It was Chezib that she gave birth to him. Judah got a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. Now Judah's firstborn, was evil in the Lord's sight, and the Lord put him to death. Then Judah said to Onan, "Sleep with your brother's wife. Perform your duty as her brother-in-law and produce offspring for your brother." But Onan knew that the offspring would not be his. So whenever he slept with his brother's wife, he released his semen on the ground, so he would not produce offspring for his brother. What he did was evil in the Lord's sight, so he put him to death also. And Judah said to his daughter-in-law Tamar, "Remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah grows up." For he thought he might die too, like his brothers. So Tamar went to live in her father's house. After a long time, Judah's wife, the daughter of Shua, died. When Judah had finished mourning, he and his friend Hirah and the Adamite went to Timnah, and the sheep shearers. Tamar was told, "Your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep." So she took off her widow's clothes, veiled her face, covered herself, sat at the entrance to Anam, on the way of Timnah, for she saw that, though Shelah had grown up, she had not been given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute, for she had covered her face. He went over to her and said, "Come, let me sleep with you," for he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. She said, "What will you give me for sleeping with you?" "I will send you a young goat from my flock," he replied. She said, "Only if you leave me something with me until you send it." "What should I give you?" he asked. She answered, "Your signet ring, your cord, and the staff in your hand." So he gave them to her and slept with her. She became pregnant by him. She got up and left, then removed the veil and put the widow's clothes back on. When Judah sent the young goat to his friend the Adamite in order to get back the items he had left with the woman, he could not find her. He asked the men of the place, "Where is the co-prostitute whose bedside was going on?" "There has been no co-prostitutes here," they answered. So the Edomites returned to Judah, saying, "I couldn't find her. And besides, the men of the palace said there had been no co-prostitute here." Judah replied, "Let her keep the items for herself, otherwise we become a laughingstock. After all, I did send this young goat, but I couldn't find her." About 3 months later, Judah was told, "Your daughter-in-law, Tamar, had been acting like a prostitute, and now she is pregnant." "Bring her out," Judah said, "and let her be burned to death." As she was being brought out, she sent her father-in-law this message: "I am pregnant by the man to whom these items belong." And she had examined these. "Whose signet ring, cord, and staff are these?" Judah recognized them and said, "She is more in the right than I, since I did not give those to my son Shelah." And when he did not know her intimately again. When the time came for her to give birth, there were twins in her womb. As she was giving birth, one of them put out his hand, and the midwife took it and the scarlet thread around it, announcing, "This one came out first." But then he pulled his hand back. Out came his brother, and she said, "What a breakout you have made for yourself." So he was named Perez. And his brother, who had the scarlet thread tied around his hand, came out and was named Zerah. Chapter 39. Now Joseph had been taken to Egypt, and an Egyptian named Potiphar, the officer of the Pharaoh and the captain of the guard, brought him from the Ishmaelites who had brought him there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, serving the household of the Egyptian master. When his master saw the Lord was with him, and the Lord made everything he did successful, Joseph found favor with his master and became his personal attendant. Potiphar also put him in charge of his household and placed all that he owned under his authority. From the time that he put him in charge of the household and all that he owned, the Lord blessed the Egyptian house because of Joseph. The Lord's blessing was all on that he owned, his house and his fields, and he left that he owned under Joseph's authority. He did not concern himself with anything except for the food that he ate. Now Joseph was well built and handsome. After some time his master's wife looked longingly at Joseph and said, "Sleep with me." But he refused. "Look," he said to his master's wife, "with me here my master does not concern himself with anything in his house, and he has put all that he owns under my authority. No one in this house is greater than I am. He has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. So how could I do this immense evil? How could I sin against God?" Although she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her. Now one day he went to the house to do his work, and none of the household servants were there. She grabbed him by his garment and said, "Sleep with me!" But leaving his garment in her hand, he escaped and ran out. When she saw that he had left his garment with her and had run outside, she called her household servants. "Look," she said to them, "my husband brought a Hebrew man to make fools of us. He came to me so he could sleep with me, and I screamed as loud as I could. When he heard me screaming for help, he left his garment beside me and ran outside." put Joseph's garment beside her until his master came home. Then she told him the same story. The Hebrew slave you brought to us came to make a fool of me. When I screamed for help, he left his garment beside me and ran outside. His master heard the story his wife told him. These are the things your slave did to me. He was furious, and he had him thrown into prison, where the king of prisoners was confirmed. So Joseph was there, in prison. But the Lord was with Joseph and extended kindness to him. He granted him favor with the prison warden. The warden put all the prisoners who were in the prison under Joseph's authority, and he was responsible for everything that was done there. The warden did not bother with anything under Joseph's authority because the Lord was with him, and the Lord made everything he did successful. After this, the king of Egypt's cupbearers and baker offered their master the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officers, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody for the house of the captain and the guards in the prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guards assigned Joseph to them as their personal attendant and were in custody for some time. The king of Egypt, cupbearer, and baker, who were confined in prison, each had a dream. Both had a dream of the same night, where each dream had its own meaning. When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw they looked distraught. So he asked Pharaoh's officers what were in custody of him in his master's house. Why do you look so sad today? We had dreams, they said to him, but there was no one to interpret them. And Joseph said to them, Don't interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams. So the chief cupbearer told his dream to Joseph. In my dream there was a vine in front of me, and on the vine there were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, the blossoms came out, and its clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. This is its interpretation, Joseph said to him. 3 branches are 3 days. In just 3 days Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position. You'll put Pharaoh's cup in his hand the way you used to when you were his cupbearer. When all goes well for you, remember that I was with you. Please show kindness to me by mentioning me to Pharaoh and get me out of this prison, for I was kidnapped from the land of Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing that they should put me in the dungeon. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was positive, he said to Joseph, I also had a dream. 3 baskets of white bread were on my head, and the top basket all sorts of baked goods were for Pharaoh, for the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head. This is the interpretation, Joseph replied. 3 baskets of 3 days. Just 3 days Pharaoh will lift up your head. From off you will hang on the tree, and the birds will eat the flesh from your body. The 3rd day, which Pharaoh's birthday, he gave a feast for all of his servants. He elevated the chief cupbearer and the chief baker among his servants. Pharaoh restored the chief cupbearer to his position as cupbearer, as he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand. But Pharaoh hanged the chief baker, just as Joseph had explained to them. The chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. Chapter 41. At the end of the 2 years, Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing beside the Nile, and the 7 healthy-looking, well-fed cows came up from the Nile and began to graze among the reeds. After them, 7 other cows, sickly and thin, came up from the Nile and stood beside those cows along the bank of the Nile. The sickly, thin cows ate the healthy, well-fed cows, and Pharaoh woke up. He fell asleep and dreamed a second time. 7 heads of grain, plump and good, came up on one stalk. After them, 7 heads of grain, thin and scorched by the east wind, sprouted up. Thin heads of grain swallowed up the 7 plump, full ones. Then Pharaoh woke up, and it was only a dream. When the morning came, he was troubled, so he summoned all the magicians of Egypt and all its wise men. Pharaoh told his dreams, but no one could interpret them for him. The chief cupbearer said to the Pharaoh, Today I remember my faults. Pharaoh was angry with his servants, and he put me into the chief baker in custody of the captain of the guard. He and I had dreams on the same night. Each dream had its own meaning. Now a young Hebrew, slave of the captain of the guards, was here with us. We told him our dreams. He interpreted our dreams for us, and each had its own interpretation. It turned out that it was just the ways he interpreted them to us. I was restored to my position, and the other man was hanged. Then Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and they quickly brought him from the dungeon. He shaved, changed his clothes, and went to Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have had a dream, and no one can interpret it. But I have heard it about you that you can hear a dream and interpret it. I am not able to, Joseph answered Pharaoh. It is God who will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, In my dream I was standing on the bank of the Nile, When the 7 well-fed, healthy-looking cows came up from the Nile and grazed among the reeds, after them 7 other cows, weak, very sickly and thin, came up. I have never seen such sickly ones as these in all the land of Egypt. And the thin, sickly cows ate the first 7 well-fed cows. When they had devoured them, you could not tell that they had devoured them, for their appearance was as bad as it had been before. Then I woke up. In my dream I also saw 7 heads of grain full of good, coming up on one stalk. After them 7 heads of grain, withered, thin, and scorched by the east wind, sprouted up. The thin heads of grain swallowed the 7 good ones. I told this to the magicians, but no one could tell me what it means. And Joseph said to Pharaoh, Pharaoh's dreams mean the same thing God has revealed to Pharaoh what he's about to do. 7 good cows are 7 years. 7 good heads are 7 years. The dreams mean the same thing. The 7 thin, sickly cows that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 worthless heads of grain scorched in the east wind are 7 years of famine. It is just as I told Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt. After them 7 years of famine will take place, and all abundance in the land of Egypt will be forgotten. The famine will devastate the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered because of the famine that follows it, for the famine will be very severe. Since the dream was given twice to Pharaoh, it means that the matter has been determined by God, and how he will carry it out soon. So now, let Pharaoh look for discerning and wise men and set them over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this. Let him appointing overseers over the land to take 1/5 of the harvest in the land of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. Let them gather all the excess food during these good years that are coming. Under the Pharaoh's authority, store the grain in the city so that they may preserve it in the food. The food will be reserved for the land during the 7 years of famine that will take place in the land of Egypt. Then the country will not be wiped out by the famine. The proposal pleased Pharaoh and all his servants, and he said to him, You can find anyone like this man who has God's spirit in him. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, Since God has made all this known to you, there is no discerning and wise as you are. You will be over my house, all my people, and will obey your commands. Only I, as king, will be greater than you. Pharaoh also said to Joseph, See, I am placing you over all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh removed the signet ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand, clothed him in fine linen garments, and placed a gold chain around his neck. He had Joseph ride in the second chariot, and servants called out to him, Make way! So he placed him over all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and none will be able to raise his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt without your permission. Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zaphenath-Paneah, and gave him his wife, Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, priest at On. And Joseph went throughout the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of the Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Joseph left Pharaoh's presence and traveled throughout the land of Egypt. During the 7 years of abundance, the land produced outstanding harvests. Joseph gathered all the excess food in the land of Egypt during the 7 years and put it in the cities. He put the food in every city from the fields around it. So Joseph stored up grain in such abundance, like the sand of the sea, that he stopped measuring it because it was beyond measure. 2 sons were born to Joseph before the years of famine arrived. Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore them to him. Joseph named the firstborn Manasseh, Manasseh, and said, God made me forget all my hardship and my whole family. On the second son he named Ephraim, and said, God has made me fruitful to the land of my affliction. And the 7 years of abundance in the land of Egypt had come to an end. 7 years of famine began. Just as Joseph had said, there was famine in every land, but the whole land of Egypt there was food. When the whole land of Egypt was stricken with famine, the people cried out to the Pharaoh for food. The Pharaoh told all Egypt, Go to Joseph and do whatever he tells you. Now the famine had spread across the whole region, so Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold grain to the Egyptians, for the famine was severe in the land of Egypt. Every land came to Joseph in Egypt to buy grain, for the famine was severe in every land. When Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, Why do you keep looking at each other? Listen, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us, that we may live and not die." So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. When Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he thought something might happen to him. The sons of Israel were among those who came to buy grain, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Joseph was in charge of the country, and he sold grain to all of its people. His brothers came and bowed before him with their faces to the ground. When Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he treated them like strangers and spoke harshly to them. "Where do you come from?" he asked. "From the land of Canaan to buy food," they replied. But Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Joseph remembered his dreams about them and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see the weakness of the land." "No, my lord, your servants have come to buy food," they said. "We are all sons of one man. We are honest. Your servants are not spies." "No," he said to them, "you have come to see the weakness of the land." They replied, "We, your servants, were 12 brothers, sons of one man in the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no longer living." And Joseph said to them, "I have spoken. You are spies. This is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one from among you to get your brother. The rest of you will be imprisoned so that your words can be tested to see if they are true. If they are not, then surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies." So Joseph imprisoned them together for 3 days. The third day Joseph said to them, "I fear God. Do this and you will live. If you are honest, let one of you be confined to the guardhouse, while the rest of you go and take grain to relieve the hunger of your households. Bring your youngest brother to me so that your word can be confirmed. Then you won't die." And they consented to this. They said to each other, "Obviously we are being punished for what we did to our brother. We saw his deep distress when he pleaded with us. We would not listen. That is why this trouble has come to us." The woman replied, "Didn't I tell you not to harm the boy? But you wouldn't listen. Now we must account for his blood." They did not realize that Joseph understood them, since there was an interpreter between them. He turned away from them and wept. When he turned back and spoke to them, he took Simeon from them and had them bounded before their eyes. Joseph then gave orders to fill their containers with grain, turn each man's silver to his sack, and their provisions for their journey. This order was carried out. They loaded their grain on their donkeys and left there. At the place where they lodged for the night, one of them opened his sack to get feed for his donkey and saw the silver there at the top of his bag. He said to his brothers, "My silver has been returned. It's here in my bag." And their hearts sank, trembling as they turned to one another and said, "What has God done to us?" When they reached the land of their father and Jacob, the land of Canaan, they told him all that had happened to them, that the man who was the lord of the country spoke harshly to us and accused us of spying on their country. Told him, "We are honest and not spies." They were 12 brothers and sons of the same father. One is no longer living, and the youngest is now with our father in the land of Canaan. The man who is the lord of the country said to us, "This is how I will know that you are honest. Leave one brother with me. Take food and relieve the hunger of your households. Then go. Bring back your youngest brother to me, and I will know that you are not spies, but an honest man. Now I give your brother back to you, and you can trade in the country." So they began emptying their sacks. There was a man in each sack that was bound with silver. They saw their fathers saw a bag of silver, they were afraid. Their father, Jacob, said to them, "It is me that you make childless. Joseph is gone, and Simeon is gone. Now you want to take Benjamin? Everything happens to me." And Reuben said to his father, "You can't kill my 2 sons if I don't bring them back to you. Put him in my care, and I will return him to you." But Jacob answered, "My son will not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he alone is left. If anything happens to him on your journey, you will bring my gray hairs down in Sheol in sorrow." Now the famine of the land was severe, and when they had used up the grain they had brought back from Egypt, their father said to them, "Go back and buy us a little food." Judah said to him, "The man specifically warned us, 'You will not see me again unless your brother is with you. If you will send our brother with us, we will go down and buy food for you. But if you will not send him, we will not go, the man said to us. You will not see me again unless your brother is with you. Why have you caused me so much trouble? Israel asked. Why did you tell the man that you had another brother? They answered, the man kept asking about us and our family. Is your father still alive? Or have you another brother? We answered him accordingly. How could we know that he would say, bring your brother here? Then Judah said to his father Israel, send the boy with me. We'll be on our way so we may live or die. Neither we nor you are dependents, but you're responsible for him and hold us personally accountable. If I do not bring him back to you and set him before you, I will be guilty before you forever. If we had not delayed, we could have come back twice now. And the father Israel said to them, if it must be so, then do this. Put some of the best products of the land in your packs and take them down to the man as a gift. A little balsam and a little honey, aromatic gum, resin, pistachios, and almonds. Take twice as much silver with you. Return the silver that was returned to you on the top of your bags. Perhaps it was a mistake. Take your brother also. Go back at once to the man. May God Almighty cause the man to be merciful to you, so he will release your other brother, and Benjamin to you. As for me, I am deprived of my sons, and I am deprived. The men took his gift, double the amount of silver and Benjamin. They immediately went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to his steward, take the men to my house, slaughter an animal prepared that they will eat with me at noon. The man did as Joseph said and brought them to Joseph's house. The men were afraid because they were taken to Joseph's house. They said, we have been taken here because of the silver was returned in our bags. The first time they intend to overpower us, seize us, make us slaves, and take our donkeys. So they approached Joseph's steward and spoke to him in the doorway of the house. They say, my lord really did come down for the first time only to buy food. We came to the place where we lodged for the night and opened our bags of grain. Each one's silver was at the top of his bag. It was a full amount of our silver. We have brought it back with us. We have brought additional silver with us to buy food. We do not know who put silver in our bags. The steward said, may you well don't be afraid. Your God, the God of your father, must have put treasure in your bags. I received your silver. They brought Simon at them, and the steward brought them to Joseph's house. Gave them water to wash their feet, and got feed for their donkeys. And since the men had heard that they were going to eat a meal there, they prepared their gifts for Joseph's arrival at noon. When Joseph came home, they brought it to him. The gift they carried into the house, and they bowed to the ground before him. And he asked them if they were well, and he said, how is your elderly father that you told me about? Is he still alive? Asking if they were well, he said, how is it our elderly father told us about? Is he still alive? And he answered, your servant our father is well, and he is still alive. And he knelt low and paid homage to him. Then when he looked up and he saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, he asked, it's the youngest brother that you told me about. He said, may God be gracious to you, my son. Joseph hurried out because he was overcome with emotion for his brother. He was about to weep. He went to an inner room and wept there. Then he washed his face and came out, regaining his composure. He said, serve the meal. They served him by himself, his brothers by themselves, and the Egyptians who were eating with him by themselves, because the Egyptians cannot eat with Hebrews, since that is detestable to them. They were seated before him in the order of age, the firstborn to the youngest. The men looked at each other in astonishment. Portions were served to them from Joseph's table, and Benjamin's portion was 5 times larger than any of theirs. They drank and became drunk with Joseph. Joseph commanded his steward, fill the men's bags with as much food as they can carry. And they put each one's silver at the top of the bag. Put my cup, the silver one at the top of the youngest one's bag, along with the silver for his grain. So he did as Joseph told him. This is chapter 44. Joseph commanded his steward, fill the men's bags with as much food as they can carry. Put each one's silver at the top of his bag. Put my cup, the silver one, at the top of the youngest one's bag, along with the silver for his grain. Did as Joseph told him. At morning light the men were sent off with their donkeys. They had not gone very far from the city when Joseph said to his steward, "Get up, pursue the men. When you overtake them, say to them, 'Why have you repaid evil for good? Is this the cup that my master drinks from and used for divination? What you have done is wrong.' When he overtook them, he said these words to them, and they said to him, 'Why does my lord say these things?' Your servants could not possibly do such a thing. We even brought back to you from the land of Canaan the silver we found on the top of our bags. How could we steal silver or gold from your master's house? It is found with one of us, your servants, he must die, and the rest of us will become my lord's slaves." The steward replied, "What you have said is right, but the only one found to have the will to be my slave, and the rest of you will be blameless." So each one quickly lowered the sack to the ground and opened it. The steward searched beginning from the oldest, ending with the youngest. The cup was found in Benjamin's sack. And when they tore their clothes, each one loaded his donkey and returned to the city. Then Judah and his brothers reached Joseph's house. He was still there. They fell to the ground before him. "What have you done?" Joseph said to them. "Didn't you know that a man like me could uncover the truth by divination?" "What can we say to my lord?" Judah replied. "How can we plead? How can we justify ourselves? God has exposed your servant's iniquity, and we are now my lord's slaves. Both we and the one who in possession of the cup was found." Then Joseph said, "I swear that I will not do this. The man who is in possession of the cup was found will be my slave. The rest of you can go in peace to your father." But Judah approached him and said, "My lord, please let your servant speak personally to my lord. Do not be angry with your servant like you are like Pharaoh." My lord asked his servants, "Do you have a father or a brother?" We answered, "My lord, we have an elderly father and a younger brother, a child of his old age. The boy's brother is dead. He's the only one that his mother's sons left, and his father loves him." And he said to your servants, "Bring him to me, that I can see him." We said to my lord, "The boy cannot leave his father, for if he were to leave his father would die." You said to your servants, "If the younger brother does not come down with you, you will not see me again." This is what happened. We went back to the servant of our father, who reported to him the words of my lord. Then our father said, "Go again and buy us a little food." We told him, "We cannot go down unless our younger brother goes with us. If our younger brother isn't with us, we cannot see the man." "Your servant," my father said to us, "you know that my wife bore 2 sons. One is gone from me, and I must have been torn to pieces, and I have never seen them again. You will also take this one from me, and anything happens to him, you will bring my gray hairs down to my Sheol in sorrow. So come to your servant's father, and the boy is not with us. His life is wrapped up with his boy's life. When he sees that the boy is not with us, he will die. Your servants will have brought the gray hairs of your servant to your father in Sheol to sorrow." Your servant became accountable to my father for the boy, saying, "If I do not return him, you will always bear the guilt for sinning against you, my father. Now please, let your servant remain here as my lord's slave in the place of the boy, and go back to his brothers. For how can I go back to my father without the boy?" I could not bear to see the grief that would overwhelm my father. Joseph could no longer keep his composure in front of all of his attendants, so he called out, "Send everyone away from me." No one was with him when he revealed his identity to his brothers, but he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard it. Also Pharaoh's household heard it. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" They could not answer him because they were terrified in his presence. And Joseph said to his brothers, "Please, come near me." So they came near. "I am Joseph, your brother," he said, "the one you sold in Egypt. And now don't be grieved or angry with yourselves for selling me here, because God sent me ahead of you to preserve life. For the famine has been in the land for 2 years. There will be 5 more years without plowing or harvesting. God sent me ahead of you to establish you as a remnant within the land and to keep you alive by a great deliverance. Therefore, it was not you who sent me here, but God. He has made me a father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household and ruler over all the land of Egypt. Return quickly to my father and say to him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord of all of Egypt. Come down to me without delay. You can settle in the land of Goshen and be near me. You, your children, and your grandchildren, your flocks and your herds, and all you have. There I will sustain you, for there will be 5 more years of famine. Otherwise, you, your household, and everything you have will become destitute. Look, your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin can see that I am the one speaking to you. Tell my father about all the glory in Egypt and all that you have seen, and bring my father here quickly. Then Joseph threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and wept, and Benjamin wept on his shoulder. Joseph kissed each of his brothers as he wept, and afterwards the brothers talked to him. When the news reached Pharaoh's palace, Joseph's brothers have come. Pharaoh and his servants were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, tell your brothers, do this. Load your animals and go on the back to the land of Canaan. Get your father and families and come back to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt. You can eat from the richness of the land. You also command to tell them, do this. Take wagons from the land of Egypt for your dependents and your wives, and bring your father here. Do not be concerned about your belongings. The best of all the land of Egypt is yours. Sons of Israel did this. Joseph gave them wagons as Pharaoh commanded. He gave them provisions for the journey. He gave his brothers changes of clothes. But he gave Benjamin 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothes. He sent his father the following 10 donkeys carrying the products of Egypt, the male and female donkeys carrying the grain, food and provision for father on the journey. So Joseph sent his brothers on their way. And as they were leaving, he said to them, don't argue on the way. They went for Egypt and came, their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, said, Joseph is still alive, and he is ruler over all of Egypt. Jacob was stunned, for he did not believe them. When they told Joseph all Joseph had said to them, and when they saw the wagons that Joseph had sent to transport him, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. And the father said, enough! My son Joseph is alive. I will go see him before I die. Chapter 46. Israel sent out for all those who had come into Sheba, and offered sacrifices to the God in the house of Isaac. That night God spoke to Israel in a vision. Jacob, Jacob, he said, and Jacob replied, here I am. God said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I will make you into a great nation there. I will go down with you to Egypt, and also bring you back. Joseph will close your eyes when you die. Jacob left Beersheba. The sons of Israel took their father Jacob in the wagons Pharaoh had sent to carry him, along with their dependents and their wives. They also took their cattle and possessions that they had acquired in the land of Canaan. Then Jacob and all his offspring came to him in Egypt. His sons and grandsons and daughters and granddaughters, and indeed all his offspring, he brought them to Egypt. These are the names and sons of Israel who came to Egypt. Jacob and his sons, Jacob's firstborn Reuben, Reuben's sons Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. Simeon's sons Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zor, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. Levi's sons Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Judah's sons Onan, Shelah, Perez, and Zerah, but and Onan died in the land of Canaan. The sons of Perez were Herzon and Harui. Ishar's sons Tola, Havua, Jashtub, and Shimron. Zebulun's sons Sered, Elon, and Jehiel. Jaleel. To Leah's sons born to Jacob, and Padon's grams, as well as his daughter Dinah. The total number of persons 33. God's sons Ziphon, Hagi, Shavni, Ivan, Arai, Ardi, Arel. Asher's sons Lina, Ishva, Ishvi, Bela, and their sister Sarah. Rai's sons were Heber and Malchi. These were the sons of Zilpah, whose Laban gave to his daughters. Leah. She bore Jacob 16 persons. Sons of Jacob's wife Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin, Manasseh, and Ephraim, born to Joseph in the land of Egypt. They were born to him by Asenath, daughter of Potiphera, a priest at On. Benjamin's sons, Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Jera, Naaman, Ahi, Rosh, Malpim, Hupim, and Ard. The Richard's sons, who were born to Jacob, 14 persons, Dan's son, Hushim, Naphtali's sons, Jaziel, Guni, Jezer, Shalim, the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave his daughter Rachel. She bore to Jacob 7 sons. 7 persons, Total number of persons belonging to Jacob, his direct descendants, not including the wives of Jacob's sons, who came to Egypt, 66, and Joseph's sons who were born to him in Egypt, 2 persons. All those of Jacob's household who came to Egypt, 70 persons. Now Jacob had sent Judah ahead of him to Joseph to prepare for his arrival. At Goshen, when they came to the land of Goshen, Joseph hitched the horses of his chariot and went up to Goshen to meet his father Israel. Joseph presented to him, threw his arms around him, and wept for a long time. Israel said to Joseph, "I'm ready to die now, because I have seen your face, and you are still alive." Joseph said to his brothers and his father's family, "I will go up and inform Pharaoh, telling my brothers and my father's family who are found in the land of Canaan have come to me. These men are shepherds. They also raise livestock. They have brought their flocks and herds, all that I have. When Pharaoh addresses you and asks, 'What is your occupation?' you ought to say, 'Your servants, both we and our ancestors, we have raised livestock from our youth until now.' Then you will be allowed to settle in the land of Goshen, since all shepherds are detestable to Egyptians." Chapter 47. So Joseph went and informed Pharaoh, "My father and my brothers with their flocks and herds and all that they own come from the land of Canaan and are now in the land of Goshen." He took his 5 brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. Pharaoh asked his brothers, "What is your occupation?" They said, "Your servants, both we and our ancestors, are shepherds." And they said to Pharaoh, "We have come to stay in the land for a while, because there is no grazing land for your servants' sheep, since the famine in the land of Canaan has been severe. So now, please let your servants settle in the land of Goshen." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Now that you, your father, and your brothers have come to you, the land of Egypt is open before you. Settle your father and your brothers in the best part of the land. They can live in the land of Goshen. If you know of any capable men among them, put them in charge of my livestock." Joseph then brought his father Jacob and presented him to Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Jacob, "How many years have you lived?" Jacob said to Pharaoh, "My pilgrimage has lasted 130 years. My years have been few and hard, and they have not reached the years of my ancestors during their pilgrimages." So Jacob blessed Pharaoh and departed from Pharaoh's presence. Then Jacob settled his father and brothers in the land of Egypt, and gave them property in the best part of the land of Rameses, as Pharaoh commanded. And Joseph provided his father, his brothers, and all his father's family with food for their dependents. But there was no food in the entire region. The famine was very severe. The land of Egypt and the land of Canaan were exhausted by the famine. Joseph collected all silver to be found in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan in exchange for the grain they were purchasing. He brought the silver to Pharaoh's place. When the silver from the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan were all gone, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us food. Why should we die here in front of you? The silver is gone." But Joseph said, "Give me your livestock. Since the silver is gone, I will give you food in exchange for your livestock." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and he gave them food in exchange for the horses, the flocks of sheep, the herds of cattle, and the donkeys. That year he provided them with food in exchange for all their livestock. That year was over, he came to the next year and said to him, We cannot hide from our Lord that the silver is gone and that all our livestock belongs to our Lord. There is nothing left to our Lord except our bodies and our land. Why should we die here in front of you, both us and our land? Buy us and all our land in exchange for food, and then we, with our land, will become Pharaoh's slaves. Give us seed so that we can live and not die, and so the land will not become desolate. In this way, Joseph acquired all the land in Egypt for Pharaoh, because every Egyptian sent to the fields and famine was severe for them. The land became Pharaoh's, and Joseph made the people servants from one end of Egypt to the other. The only thing he did not acquire belonged to priests, for they had an allowance from Pharaoh. They ate from their allowance that Pharaoh gave them. Therefore, they did not sell their land. Joseph said to the people, Understand today that I have acquired you your land for Pharaoh. Here is seed for you, sow it in the land. I harvest you had to give a fifth of it to Pharaoh, and 4/5 will be yours as seed for the field and as food for yourselves, your households, and your dependents. You have saved our lives, they said. We have found favor in the Lord and with Pharaoh's slaves. So Joseph made it a law still in effect today in the land of Egypt, that a fifth of the produce belongs to the Pharaoh. Only the priest's land does not belong to Pharaoh. Israel settled in the land of Egypt in the region of Goshen, and they acquired property in it and became fruitful and numerous. Now Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, but his lifespan was 147 years. Then the time approached for him to die. He called his son Joseph and said to him, If I have found favor with you, put your hand under my thigh and promise me that you will deal with me in kindness and faithfulness. Do not bury me in Egypt. The rest of my ancestors carry me away from Egypt and bury me in their burial place. Joseph answered, I will do what you have asked. And Jacob said, Swear to me. So Joseph swore to him. Then Israel bowed in thanks to the head of his bed. Chapter 48. Some time after this, Joseph was told, Your father is weaker. So he set out with his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. When Jacob was told, Your son Joseph has come to you, Israel summoned his strength and sat up in the bed. Jacob said to Joseph, God Almighty appeared to me as Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me. He said to me, I will make you fruitful and numerous. I will make many nations come from you. I will give this land as a permanent possession to your future descendants, your 2 firstborn sons, to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you, and Egypt are now mine. Ephraim and Manasseh belong to me just as Reuben and Simeon do. Children born to you after them will be yours, and you will be recorded under the names of their brothers with regard to their inheritance. As returning to Padan, to my sorrow, Rachel died along the way. Some distance from Ephrath in the land of Canaan, I buried her along the way to Ephrath, that is, Bethlehem. When Israel saw Joseph's sons and said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons God has given me. So Israel said, Bring them to me, and I will bless them. Now his eyesight was poor because of old age. He could hardly see. Joseph brought them to him, and he kissed them and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, I never expected to see your face again. But now God has even let me see your offspring. Then Joseph took them from his father's knees and bowed his face to the ground. Joseph took them both with his right hand, Ephraim toward Israel's left, with his left hand Manasseh toward Israel's right, and brought them toward Israel. But Israel stretched out his right hand and put it on the head of Ephraim, the younger, and crossing his hands put it on Manasseh's head, although Manasseh was the firstborn. Then he blessed Joseph and said, The God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God has been my shepherd all my life to this day. The angel who had redeemed me from all my harm, may he bless these days, and may he be called by my name, the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and he may grow and numerous within the land. When Joseph saw that his father had placed his right hand on Ephraim's head, he thought it was a mistake and took his father's hand to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's. Joseph said to his father, "Not that way, my father. This one's the firstborn. Put your hand on his head." Father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He too will become a tribe. He too will become great. Nevertheless, his younger brother will be greater than he. His offspring will become a populous nation." So he blessed them to this day, putting Ephraim before Manasseh. He said, "The nation Israel would invoke blessings to you, saying, 'May God make you Ephraim and Manasseh.'" Jael said to Joseph, "Look, I am about to die, but God will be with you and bring your land to the land of the fathers. Over above when I'm going to my brothers, I will give you one mountain slope that took you from the Amorites, my sword and bow." Chapter 49. Then Jacob called his sons and said, "Gather around, and I will tell you what will happen in the days to come. Come together and listen, sons of Jacob. Listen to your father Israel. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my strength, my firstfruits, my virility, excelling in prominence, excelling in power. Turbulent as water, you will not excel because you got into your father's bed and you defiled it. You got into my bed. Simeon and Levi are brothers with their knives as vicious weapons. May I never enter their council, may I never join their assembly, for in their anger they kill men, and on the whim of the hamstring oxen their anger is cursed. They are strong, and their fury for it is cruel. For I will disperse them throughout Jacob and scatter them throughout Israel. Judah, your brother will praise you. Your hand will be on the necks of your enemies. Your father's sons will bow down to you. Judah is a young lion, my son. He will turn to you from the kill. He crouches, he lies like a lion or a lioness. Who dares to rouse him? On the scepter that will not depart from Judah, on the staff between his feet, until he whose right comes, and the obedience of the people belong to him. He ties his donkey to a vine, and the colt of his donkey in the wash and the choice of his vine. He washes his clothes in wine, his robes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, his teeth are whiter than milk. The Zebulun will live in the seashore and will harbor for ships. His territory will be next to Sidon. His char will be a strong donkey, lying down between sandbags. He saw the resting place was good. The land was pleasant, so he leaned over his shoulder to bear a load, and became forced labor. Dan will judge his people, as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan will be a snake by the road, a viper by the path, that bites a horse's heels, the rider falls backwards. I wait for your salvation, Lord. Gad will be attacked by raiders, but he will attack their heels. Asher's food will be rich, and he will produce royal delicacies. Naphtali is a doe set free that bears beautiful fawns. Joseph is a fruitful vine beside a spring. Its branches climb over the wall. The archers attacked him, shot at him, and they were hostile toward him. His bow remained steady, and his strong arms were made agile by the hands of the mighty one of Jacob. By the name of the shepherd, the rock of Israel, by the God of your father who helps you, by the Almighty who blesses you, with blessings of the heavens above, blessings of the deep that lies below, and blessings of the breast and of the womb. Blessings of your father excel in the blessings of my ancestors and the bounty of the ancient hills. May the rest of the head of Joseph on the brow of the prince of his brothers. Benjamin is a wolf. His tears, his prey, in the morning he devours the prey, and in the evening he divides the plunder. These are the tribes of Israel, 20 in all. This is what his father said to them. He blessed them, he blessed each one a suitable blessing. Then he commanded them, I am about to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my ancestors in the cave in the field of Ephron the Hethite. The cave is in the field of Machpelah, during Mamre, in the land of Canaan. This is the field Abram purchased from Ephron. The Hethites is the burial property. And Abram and his wife Sarah are buried there. Isaac and his wife Rebekah are buried there, and I buried Leah there. The fields in the cave were his purchase from the Hethites. When Jacob had finished giving charges to his sons, he drew his feet into the bed, he took his last breath, and was gathered to his people. Last chapter, chapter 50. Then Joseph, leaning over his father's face, wept and kissed him. He commanded his servants who were physicians to embalm his father. So they embalmed Israel. It took 40 days to complete this, for embalming takes that long. The Egyptians mourned for him 70 days. The days of mourning were over. Joseph said to Pharaoh's household, "If I have found favor with you, please tell Pharaoh that I, my father, made me take an oath, saying I am about to die. You must bury me there in the tomb that I have made for myself in the land of Canaan. Now let me go and bury my father, so that then I will return." So Pharaoh said, "Go and bury your father in the keeping of your oath." Then Joseph went to bury his father and all Pharaoh's servants, the elder of his husband, the elder of his not the elder of his husband, the elder of his household, and all the elders of the land in Egypt went with him, along with Joseph's family and his brothers and the father's family. Only their dependents, their flocks, and their herds were left in the land of Goshen. Horses and chariots went up with him. It was a very impressive procession. Then they reached the threshold, reaching the floor of Atad, which was across the Jordan, mourned 7 days for his father. When the Canaanite inhabitants of the land saw the mourning and threshing floor of Atad, they said, "This is the solemn mourning on the part of the Egyptians." Therefore, the place is named Abel Mizraim, across the Jordan. So Jacob's sons did that for him when they had commanded him. They carried him to the land of Canaan, and buried him in the cave at Machpelah, in the field near Mamre, where Abram had purchased the burial property from Ephron the Hethite. After Joseph buried his father and returned to Egypt, his brothers and all who had gone with him to bury his father. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said to one another, "If Joseph is holding a grudge against us, he will certainly repay us for all the suffering we caused him." So they sent a message to Joseph. "Before he died, your father gave a command. Say this to Joseph, please forgive your brothers' transgression to their sin, their suffering they caused you. Therefore, please forgive the transgression of the servants of God of your father." Joseph wept in their messages and came to him, and his brothers came to him, bowed down before him, and said, "We are your slaves." But Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You planned evil against me. God planned it for good, to bring about the present result, the survival of many people. Therefore don't be afraid. I will take care of you and your children." And he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. Joseph and his father's family remained in Egypt. Joseph lived 110 years. Joseph lived 110 years. He saw Ephraim's sons in third generation. The sons of Manasseh, son of Machir, were recognized by Joseph. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am about to die, but God certainly could come to your aid and bring you up from this land to the land he swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." So Joseph made the sons of Israel take an oath. "When God comes to your aid, you ought to carry my bones from up here." Joseph died at age 110. But they embalmed him and placed him in the coffin in Egypt. That is the book of Genesis. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to hear more, please subscribe. I'll see you for the next reading.